Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3:01 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. So I'm running a little bit late, but it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, April 15th, 2021. Because it is Thursday, well, I'm out of focus every day, but because it's Thursday today, it is happy hour. And today I'm trying something that I got yesterday, or I got it a little bit before yesterday, but I opened it yesterday during the live stream. It's something from Univet that they sent, Elite Beet-420. It is a powder that I'm pretty sure is basically like beet powder, which sounds very strange. I'm not that familiar. I'm familiar with beets as a food. They're delicious. They're underrated. They're sometimes difficult to clean, but it's a good food. But I'm not familiar with it as like a sports supplement. But it's supposed to help with increased oxygen uptake or oxygen absorption, something along those lines. It's supposed to help with stamina and endurance athletes. So I'm going to be testing it out on a longer term basis. I'll figure out a little bit more about what the claimed benefits are, but I wanted to do a taste test with you guys today. And because of the color of the package, I'm wondering if it's going to be like red beet powder. So I don't know what color this drink is going to end up being, but like, I think part of, is Dr. Josh in here today? Part of Dr. Josh's blood juice is, I think he mixes the Noon Recover with some beet juice, powder. So I don't know if this is kind of along the similar veins or what, but we'll see what it is. But it's called Beet-420, which a lot of you guys are already giggling. A lot of you guys were giggling yesterday about it. A lot of you guys are giggling about it today because it has 420 in the name. But it's standardized to 420 milligrams of dietary nitrates. So interesting. On the back, it says it's vegan, 100% natural, gluten-free, non-GMO, solvent-free, and allergen-free, which I like the allergen-free part. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to try this out. I got some water here, a little bit more than 8 ounces of water, which is what it's called for to mix. And we'll give it a taste test. Talk about the long-term benefits of it later in a different video, but for today, we'll just do the taste and color. I'm not optimistic about it. I'm going to put it out there for you. Before I get into this, though, I do want to say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Welcome to you guys as well. Hopefully you guys are having a good run out there today. And for everyone watching this on YouTube, not live, but after the fact, welcome to you guys as well. I'm so glad that so many of you are starting to comment, even though you're not participating in the chat live, that you're still commenting as well. I love interacting with you guys too. All right. So we got some people here live as well. We got Frank asking a question. Are Ben Parks, Welshner, and Andy all in the Chelsea Wrexham Elite Marathon? Are they really? That'd be pretty cool if they were all there in the same race. I feel like we need to send someone over there to film it for us so we can all watch. We need like a mega video, because it's like YouTube Elite over there. Then if you get those three guys, at least YouTube Elite UK version, you know what I mean? That'd be pretty awesome. I didn't realize that. But it makes sense in a way, because like, you know, there's only so many races that are out there right now. So, whoa, that's pretty cool. I'll have to level check on that. And it says, hey, Kafuzi and everyone, just the 10-mile run today, Mike, post-vaccine. Yeah, you know, it was probably a little bit more than I should have run for a day. I went on my first post-vaccine run. It was like 2.5 days since I got the vaccine. And, you know, I definitely felt a little bit of heaviness to it. My legs felt great. You know, the legs were fine. But, you know, my daughter has a cold today. So I don't know if it's still feeling like a little bit of heaviness from that, or if my daughter's feeling sick, because like my daughter's had a cough. It's not COVID. We actually took her to the doctor today. I took her to the doctor today, and they made her take a COVID rapid test. So we'll get final results, or I guess not rapid test results this afternoon. But she doesn't have COVID. She just has a regular cold, they think. But she's been coughing kind of all week. And then my wife started coughing a little bit yesterday. So I just feel like it's inevitable that I'm also going to get sick. So I don't know if it's that or if it's still side effects from the vaccine. But like, you know, I tried to throw in a moderate mile in there today, because today was originally supposed to be a workout day. Not that I was going to run a workout, but I was like, you know, I wanted to finish testing out a shoe. And so it's like, let's throw a moderate mile in there. And I was like, whoa, this moderate mile, taking a little bit of effort to maintain. It wasn't harder so much as it just took a lot of focus. I just felt like I had to keep putting a lot of input into it. to remind myself of what I was trying to do. So yeah, I'm still feeling a little bit groggy. All right, Kiefer says beets, they're fancy. Yeah. And Frank says, I think Dr. Dre should get into selling beet powder. And Kiefer says, well, they're about to put a bill on the floor to legalize marijuana on the federal level. So I think Dr. Dre may be occupied with a different crop. You know, I didn't know that was coming. I mean, I really thought descheduling would happen first. And I for the longest time, I really thought that like a Trump Hail Mary would be to deschedule marijuana. And I was like, that could be like the one good thing he does. But it never happened. I really saw it coming, but I guess it just wasn't going to happen. Yeah. Jeff Elliott says, hello. What's going on, Jeff? Good to see you. JC says, howdy, folks. All right. And let's see who else we got here. All right. Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind on the chat. The chat sidebar for me just scrolled up. Scott says, my New Year's resolution was to eat less beets. Really? Were you eating too many? Someone yesterday, I think in the comments, was mentioning about like the whole like pea color thing that happens with beets, which we didn't touch on yesterday for some reason. But yeah, that's definitely something to remember, that it will mess up with your pea color the first time you, well, not the first time, every time you eat like purple beets. So that's something to keep in mind, something to remember. I'm getting a little thirsty, so I'm gonna have a little sip of this water before we put some beet powder in it. All right. Martha says, there's a really great beet juice that comes in a jar at our grocery store. It's delicious. It sounds so unappetizing though, right? I don't know what it is about it. Yeah. Albert Lung says, that is going to make you poop more tomorrow, Kofuzi. You know what? A lot of, well, now I wouldn't say a lot. Some of the Unived products really serve as a very strong laxative for me. So I have this other like test product. I don't think it's out. I don't know if they just haven't released it yet or what, but it's basically like ashwagandha and like red spinach extract and something else, a couple of other ingredients. And I taste tested it during a live stream. This was back when we were in Iowa, and that one, it says specifically to take like 30 to 60 minutes before your physical activity, and I'm pretty sure that the reason they say that is because that gives your body enough time to poop before you need to go out. And I'm pretty sure a lot of those times where I had to poop out in the cornfields, it's because there's a pretty high correlation between I took the Unived, like the endurance mix, which I still don't think is a finalized product yet. I took the endurance mix and then went for a run without going to the bathroom again first. So I think that's what's going on. And then this product too also says take like, this one says 30 to 40, says consume 30 to 45 minutes prior to endurance activity. So I have a feeling this is going to do the same thing. All right. Kiefer says Kofuzi is Dwight Schrute in disguise, confirmed. I could live with that. Fact. Greg, what's going on? Greg says, hey, listening to the live stream while I work. Have a great one. Awesome, Greg. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's get this thing cracked open. And I'm very curious as to what color this powder is going to be. Let's get this open here. It won't like open. There we go. Let's get this poured in. Oh yeah, it's dark color. It's like more of a dirt color than anything. Almost like a cocoa powder. It's a very fine powder. That sounded nice on the microphone, didn't it? All right, let's give it a shake. Whoa, look at that color. It just this is just mud now at this point. Oh, yeah. This doesn't look like juice to me. I don't know what color this is, guys, but it doesn't look appetizing. All right, let's see what else we got here. Frank says, so we legalized here last Friday, and like overnight there are like 15 shops of pot. We're on the border with Texas, which hasn't even decriminalized. Awesome. What state is that, Frank? That's legalized on Friday? That's awesome. Yeah. Just in case you guys are curious, I don't partake, but I do think that it should be legalized in all 50 states. And well, I think at first should be descheduled, and then I think it should be legalized on the federal level so that, you know, it's a little bit cleaner for businesses to start, and so that people can invest in these companies without fear that like the federal government's going to yank the rug out from underneath them. So I think that's a big thing that I'm a very big proponent of, but I don't partake of it personally. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It'll be interesting to see all those Texas people that don't want regulations, seeing how they feel about Texas having more regulations on a certain product than on another state. All right. Lucas Louis says, hi, everyone. Hi, Co. What's going on, Lucas? Good to see you again. And Mark Selfman says, this is no GMO is not for me. So you only want the GMO? All right. Martha says, speaking of 420, one of our best young local chefs will be on Chopped 420 next week. I suspect she won. All she could say was, it went very well. What's Chopped 420? I don't know what that is. I'm not familiar with it. And Leona Wong says, just finished with some red beets in my salad. See, red beets in a salad is good. I'm a big fan. Emma says, what's going on? Emma says, shout out to watching it late on YouTube. Always makes me smile because that's me most of the time. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here today, Emma. It's always good to see you here. Ted and Ruth says, evening all. And Spencer says, yo, listening while I'm running today. Awesome. Hopefully you're having a good run. And Mark says, I wonder who would win that race. A race between Ben, Andy, and Walsh Runner? I think Walsh Runner would win that one, right? Am I wrong on that one? He's a pretty fast guy. Well, what did Ben, I think Andy's the slowest of the three. And by slow, he's the least fast of the three, right? He's shooting for 240, am I right? Walsh Runner's shooting for 225. I think that's right around where Ben is, isn't it? He's a 220. I thought he was a 224 guy. So maybe Ben is the faster one. I feel like Walsh Runner's got a lot of momentum going into it, though. He's been training really hard. And then Ben's been battling some injuries here and there. So I feel like Walsh Runner's got the, I don't know. That's going to be a pretty exciting day. I think we should have a watch. We're gonna need to have like a watch party of some sort. If that thing is, I mean, not that they're going to televise the YouTubers, but maybe we'll just do like a live tweet session that day. We'll have to see if all three of them are in it. That'd be fantastic. Steve 76 says Team Sarah. Is Sarah running too? That'd be awesome. That'd be cool. Yeah, but I mean, like, all right, where is that? Is Ed Bud running? If Ed Bud's not running, we need to get Ed Bud out there and have him be the guy that runs along the side of the course with the camera. Like, I love seeing that, especially when you see it on like on the network broadcast of it, when you see like there is the lead pack and they're following it from like the lead vehicle, and there's like a guy hanging out the back of a pickup truck, and he's like, holding the camera and watching the lead pack. And because the angle is wide enough, you can usually see like there's a guy like hustling, usually in jeans and like a camera backpack, holding like a camera out to try and get some footage. Yeah, we need to get Ed to be that guy. Who else is going to do it? Who else can we get? Is 40 around there? Would 40 do it? Or is 40 isn't he in that? Is that an elite marathon only? Is that like a small? I don't know what that, I'm not familiar with that race. The word elite in the title is confusing. All right, let's try this stuff. I think we've talked about it long enough. I'm a little bit intimidated by it because of the color. It smells like medicine, like a tincture. That's one of my favorite words to say. It tastes kind of like tea isn't the right word, but like I mean, I guess if you put like, it doesn't taste like vegetable soup, but it tastes like maybe like vegetable water. I don't know. It's not delicious. This isn't delicious. This is something that I would slam in the morning before I run. The same thing with the other Unimed thing, the endurance mix, the powder. I just slam it. And sometimes it's not fully like dissolved, and I just try to swallow the chunks, the floaters. So it doesn't taste bad though. I feel like I could enjoy that flavor. I mean, maybe I might enjoy that flavor if it were hot in the morning, as more of like what's the word for it? When you're kind of like steeped, it tastes like something that is steeped in a somewhat pleasant way. I think about that mushroom coffee. I think I need to order some of that. That mushroom coffee that Rich Roll always talks about. Did any of you guys try that? And he's like, it doesn't taste like mushrooms. That's silly. I feel like it probably tastes like this, or that's what it tastes like in my mind. So I don't know. It's not a beverage that I would drink because I enjoy the flavor, but I could see drinking this like before a run. And I'll let you guys know tomorrow what effects it had on my digestive system. Hopefully that won't kick in until after we're done here, but I'll let you know. Brian Paul says, I wonder if having THC or CBD, if it would hurt or help your running performance. Well, I will tell you an anecdotal story from my high school, the long distance runners. There was a time, I don't think it was like the entire time, but there was a time where it was going around where some members of the long distance team, I was not a part of this one. I would tell you guys if I were, but I was not a part of this, were smoking up before the longest runs that we would have. And I was like, that seems like a terrible idea. And they're like, no, man, it's the best idea. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah. Because then you just get to go out there and really relax on the long run and it goes by in a flash. And I was like, oh, that does sound nice. This was back when I hated running, even though I was on the track team. But yeah, so like some people say it's a nice thing to do. I don't know. I don't think I would really like it. Although, I mean, if you were just going on a long run adventure, I could see it at certain situations where it might be enjoyable. I think though that I feel like the technology, I guess, is that the right word for it? The technology has come where it seems like you can very specifically kind of like, I don't know what's the right word for it, but select for certain types of responses that it will create in the body. So like, I think that, especially if there's research done on it and also a legalization of the product, I think there could be some very interesting kind of like permutations on what the product is, and how we approach it and perceive it. So I think that would be kind of an interesting idea as well. Mark says, running in the Nike Zoom X sneakers and going through the water, did they get heavier? No, not really. I didn't really feel like they were heavier, but like the water is really cold still right now. I don't know what the temperature of the water is. It's below 50, I think. So like it's cold. And today the temperature was in the 30s. So it was a cold day. I had gloves on, medium gloves on, and by the end of the run, not even by the end, by the middle of the run, my hands were frozen. And so it was a cold day, and running through the water was not a great idea, because my feet were pretty cold. Shannon's here. What's going on, Shannon? All right, I'm really far behind on the chat, so I'm going to try to catch up to you guys. All right. Yeah, Martha says, it's totally hypocritical for alcohol to be legal and marijuana not. And unlike the former, cannabis has huge therapeutic potential that can't be researched here because of its status. Israel's ahead there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important distinction to make as well. And I think there's a lot of there is medical utility to it. And that's why I think it being a scheduled product prohibits any kind of grant funding for that kind of research, which, I just think is just illogical. There isn't a lot of scientific rationale behind it anymore. So yeah, I agree. Marlon says, I would probably get super paranoid on THC while running. Paranoid I would get run over or something like that. Yeah, I mean, that would be my only concern is like, you're running. So like you kind of want to have your balance about you, but yeah, I'm not saying get, go overboard on it. Just like a little, I don't know what the word for it is, but a little nip of it here and there. Rainer says, for this, I feel like Kofuzi's black reaction says it all. Yeah, it's not tasty. It's not tasty. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like my first memory of coffee. ever memory of coffee. I was probably about the baby's age. I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. I remember going into the fridge, by myself and looking, and my mom had left a mug in there. And I looked at this mug, and for whatever reason, I thought it was chocolate milk, which should have tipped me off because my mom never had chocolate syrup in the house or any other means to make chocolate milk in the house. So I shouldn't have thought it was chocolate milk because she never had like sweets in the house. We never had soda in the house growing up. We had orange juice was as sweet as it got. But I thought I was drinking, I thought it was like chocolate milk. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have some of this. And it ended up being my mom's coffee from that morning. She didn't finish it, so she thought she'd put it in the fridge. And I had it, and it was just the most disgusting thing ever. Because one, when you drink something, you think it's going to be one thing and it ends up being something else, that surprise, your body doesn't like that kind of surprise. And so it's an instant reaction. And I had that. And that's kind of like, I'm getting a sense of that here, because there's parts of the aroma here. I don't know if it's like there's a froth at the top of this. And it's like part of this experience kind of reminds me of like coffee-ish experience. But it's cold. It's very much cold. So there's just something that's bringing me back to that experience right now. Mark says, I'd probably get super hungry and stop at McDonald's during the run. That's going back to high school running. In high school, I don't know if they still do this at high schools. I mean, I kind of hope that they still do because it makes a lot of sense. So school for us ended at like 2:30, maybe 2:20 in the afternoon, a strangely early time. High school is so weird. School times are really, really weird. And now that my kids are in it, I'm looking at it as like an adult. I'm like, this is like a really weird start time. But our school would end at like 2:30, or maybe it was 2:40. 2:40 is when it would end. And then practice would never start until like 3:15. And the rationale for that is so that way, if anyone ever needed help after school with a specific subject, that they would always have an availability. So they'd be able to do that. Or if they needed to get their homework done before going to practice, they would have time to do that. But all I ever did with that time was, especially once I could drive, is I would speed to get to the McDonald's that was not even that close to school, but the closest McDonald's to school, order like a extra value meal of some sort and just eat it on the way back to school and then go run a track practice. So I did that pretty regularly. It was not, I was not, let's say I probably lacked some mentors when I was in high school track, that probably could have shown me a better way. I'm not sure what I was thinking back then. All right, Lucas Louis says, "Code, the Peg 37s are stiffer than 36s." I'd say yes. Their React foam. I was super excited about React in the Pegasus, but the way that they did it, it ended up being super stiff for me. And I get where they're going. I think they're targeting a runner that's different than me. I think that they're targeting someone whose long run might be 6 miles, and I think that same thing with the Invincible run. Like, I don't think it's a great recovery shoe, but if like your long run is like 6 miles and your recovery run might be like a really easy 3, then I think, that it still might work out really, really well for you. So I'm thinking like, not necessarily marathoners. Just seems to me. I don't know. There is like another thing that this is just definitely reminding me of is like, growing up, my mom would always like come home with this stuff. She would go to like the apothecary or like the herbalist. Sometimes they were Korean herbalists. A lot of times they were specializing in Chinese medicine, but they were Koreans that she would go to. And she would come home with like a giant plastic bag full of stuff, powders with weird writing on it, very fancy packaging. And then like you open it up and it would just smell terrible. And you're like, what's in this? And she'd be like, ginger root and ginseng. And I'm like, oh, this is like this is what they put in pepper spray. It was just like super strong. And then she'd be like, here's what you got to do. We're going to mix it with some water and then microwave it to make it hot. And then you're going to drink it really fast. So there was like a lot of stuff. Is my mom here? Mom, do you remember that? You used to give me some of the weird stuff. Yeah, I don't think she's here today, but yeah. But like, this is kind of reminding me of some of that just because of the color is very strange. It's just like it's like a mystery brown liquid. I was hoping it would be purple, but it's not exactly purple. Is this thing purple? Am I getting that wrong? I thought that this was like a maroonish color. So that's what I thought, like, like a purple beet. So I don't know. All right. Aaron Ike says, what's going on? Aaron says, Yoko, loving my Skechers XS. Do you really? I kind of feel like Skechers is trolling us. I mean, I have no doubt that these shoes are pretty good shoes, but I'm just like, why are they not doing a Razor 4? Why is everything just like a Razor something else? I mean, I don't really understand like what's going on with that. Like, is the Razor going to be the offshoot? Instead of like I don't know, because like everything used to be Go Run. And then now everything just Razor now? I don't know. It's very like confusing to me. I just feel like they're gonna give they're like brand new from Skechers Performance, a Razor, and I'm like 4, and they're like XS. I'm like, brand new from Skechers, a Razor 4 Trail. So I'm just like, goodness. When am I gonna see a Razor 4? I want to see a Razor 4. I don't know why I want to see a Razor 4 so much, but now it just seems like, I know they're not trolling me. They don't care about me, and they shouldn't, but it's just funny. But I have been hearing good things about that one. I'm glad you're enjoying it. All right. Frank says, I always forget to eat lunch on Friday, cross-country race days, and I had to get like a Snickers from the vending machines during that period. That's not too bad. I'm really surprised. I'm surprised that Snickers hasn't tried to rebrand itself as like an endurance snack, like as a granola bar type of thing. Like saying like Snickers, it tastes like a candy bar, but look at what's inside. It's got like 12 grams or whatever the numbers are. I'm really surprised that they haven't gone there yet. Like, don't even change the packaging. Just like have some Instagram ads that just talk about like the nutritional content in as favorable way as possible. I'm really surprised. Have I missed that? Maybe that exists already. I don't know. Rick Sutter says, my earliest experience with coffee was in the late 1960s when all coffee was bad. So heavy sugar and milk, basically like Starbucks bottled Frappuccinos. Yeah, I've had one of those Starbucks Frappuccinos before. I don't, it reminds me of like the Dunkin' Donuts coffee drinks, like the ones that they sell pre-made too. It's just super sugary. Not really any coffee, like melted coffee ice cream, which I love coffee ice cream. That's my favorite flavor of ice cream. But like coffee a long time ago. I mean, then you guys had percolators back then with the bubbling on the top. I love the sound of that. Look at that. All right. Now, I saw something from Evan here talking about the Invincibles today. What do you say? Where did that go? So, okay, so I'll summarize it. Evan was saying that like here it is. My problem with the Invincible is I can't run slower than 620 pace in it. Darn you, ZMX. Well, I'm assuming 620 must be your easy pace because I have a hard time running like just regular easy pace in it today. Although today wasn't too hard to do that, but because I'm still feeling a little bit groggy. But the baby just like kicked over a dollhouse or something, and she didn't pick it up. She just like kept walking right by it. Like, I don't know who put that there. But yeah, I mean, it certainly seems to want like a certain pace. And for me, where that pace sits is in like the moderate range. So like I was running a marathon effort mile in it, and I just felt like I didn't ever love being there. It could get there, and I felt like I think I could easily run a marathon. Not easily, but like definitely this is a shoe that you could take with you for a marathon. but like I just feel like it wanted to be a little bit slower than that for me. So yeah, I just think that that's where it tends to fall in for people. I think there's just the bounciness of it. I think that's where it kind of falls. So it's like I want it to be an easy day shoe, or a recovery day shoe for me, but it never is. Oh yeah, and Michael Wu says, "Do you think the Invincibles are not soft enough for recovery?" It's not that it's not soft enough. I just think it bounces too fast, right? And so like it causes a spring, and it just makes your foot move like in the gait cycle, like kind of quickly. That's the sense that I'm getting from it. So like I feel like from a recovery shoe, like with the bounce should be like more, like more like absorb, spring back, absorb, spring back. Whereas the Invincible is more like bounce back, bounce back, bounce back. It just hits. It's like a racquetball, kind of. So that's kind of like another way to summarize my thoughts on that shoe. Corey Allen says, I used to swear by the McDonald's breakfast burritos an hour or two pre-run. So good. Well, I mean, the breakfast burritos used to be small, right? Are they still small? Do they still even sell that? Is that a product still? I think it is, right? They're smaller, so it's like a good size. I could see that. Definitely. Jay Pelican says ginseng is good. It is good. Certainly, there are like thousands of years of people taking it, and they're extolling its virtues. But I've seen it in a lot of different forms, and I've seen it. Like when my parents would get ginseng, sometimes when they would go to like Korea and come back, they would get like these really fancy there's like ginseng, and then there's like super fancy ginseng. And it comes like wrapped. It comes in like a case. It's like the case in like Pulp Fiction. It like glows when you open it. Like I swear to God, my parents have had like cases of like ginseng that you open it up and everything is wrapped kind of like in packets like this, but like even nicer, like foil, almost like a packet of like Pokemon cards. Like that's what it would look like. And like they would sit in this thing. So they were all laid out for you so you could see them really nicely. And the inside was lined with like felt. It's just like elaborate, really elaborate ginseng kind of like packages. And I know that's part of like the presentation of it, but like you could spend a lot of money on ginseng, I think. I don't know. I've never really been 100% convinced of it, but maybe I'm just biased because I've always been like, oh, that's that weird stuff that my mom makes me drink. Anyone else have that? Does anyone else have that, or is that just me and my mom? Yeah. Benzie News Showdown says, what's going on? Greetings, good people. What's going on, Benzie? Good to see you. Wasn't Fun Boxer says, I'd love to try the chaga tea. Is that what Ritual is always drinking? Chaga? I think I might have to order some just because I keep hearing about it. Who else was talking? No, there's another guy. It's the cordyceps. Is that what it is? Or is it forticeps? I'm trying to remember. It sounds like these made up words smashed together. But there's another guy who's advertising, I think, on YouTube and on Instagram. And he's like, I decided to make this because, I was all hopped up on caffeine. And so I just started throwing all this stuff in a jar and it looked like mud. And all my friends were like, what are you drinking? And I'm like, it's my own drink. So I decided to sell it. Like that's a weird, have you guys seen that commercial? It's a really weird commercial. Like the energy is very confusing on it. But yeah. But like I've been hearing about like a lot of like the lion's mane, a lot of the not special, but like these specifically chosen mushrooms that you're going to steep or drink as a tincture. That I'm kind of interested in, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, Beet-420 might be as far as I can get. I'm not sure about it. Rick Sutter wants to know, Kabuzi, have you tried the Nike Infinity React 2s yet? I tried them in addition to the New Balance 1080s. And I'm liking the changes Nike made. Maybe in my new long run shoe. Oh, really? I didn't have any plans on reviewing it because as far as I thought, it was only changes to the upper. Now I understand that changes to the upper can make how you respond to the midsole be a little bit different. So I don't want to like completely minimize it and say it's a non-upgrade upgrade. But I didn't love the Infinity React 1s. They're a good shoe. I think if people like React, people like Nike shoes, they'll probably like it. But I didn't have any plans on reviewing the React 2. In the 1080 version 11, I'm a bit it's still good. It's still really good, but I'm a bit disappointed in it. I want just like a couple more millimeters of that fresh Foamex in the forefoot. I think that would change the shoe quite a bit. And I think that what they're trying to go for is ultimately the disconnect is like what I want the shoe to be. And I think what they want the shoe to be is slightly different. And that's where like the disconnect is. But yeah, but I don't know about that Infinity React 2. Sean Marshall says, the Ultra box can't compete with my Birkenstock toe box. Very open. Awesome. All right. Ted Ruth says, currently trying out milk alternatives such as soy, almond, and coconut versions with a view to going fully vegan. Tell me it's worth it. It will get easier. I don't know. I don't really drink the nut milks or the non-milk milks. What I think is amazing is that they can call them milks. And they don't have to call it like milk with a Y or something like that. Or they don't have to call it like almond juice extract, or almond extract or something like that. Or, I mean, they can't call it juice because there's very strong regulations, at least in the US, about what can have the word juice in it. Like the most ludicrous example being like they couldn't sell pimp juice. Remember the Nelly song, Pimp Juice? They couldn't actually sell that as a product. They wanted to sell it as a product, but they couldn't because it had the word juice in it. And for it to have the word juice in it, there has to be a certain amount of actual juice in it. So like, yeah, strange. But they can call it milk when like, I think of milk as being like the thing that a mammal lactates to feed its young. I don't know how else do you find milk, but like, I don't know how almonds, soy, or coconut really fit into that, So like, it's an interesting side note, but it's taken me a while. I don't know that I like soy milk. I like almond milk now, but we have milk in the house all the time because I got 2 kids. I guess they don't need it, but it's just easier to have 2 kids around to have milk when you got 2 kids. So we have it, and I do enjoy milk. I do enjoy almond milk. I would say try putting it in smoothies. So mix it in like your protein shakes, or if you're getting smoothies from somewhere else, instead of getting like a whey protein, just get like, the protein isn't going to affect the flavor so much, but instead of getting like regular milk, get like coconut, or get the almond. Soy I feel like is a really strong flavor. You know what I haven't tried though? I want to try the oat milk because I do like oats. I don't like oatmeal, but I like oats. I like granola. I like oatmeal cookies. So I feel like I would like that. And I feel like the advertising is really good for the oat milk. Again, I don't like the fact that it's called milk, but I don't know what else to call it. Benzene Shoodown says, is Skechers Hyperburst the Aero chocolate Invincible? That's funny. I know what that means now because Andy sent me that box of chocolate with the Aero chocolate in it. But I mean, maybe. I'm not sure, but it could be. I think it's funny. Abomination says, any particular shoe you're looking forward to in 2021? I'd say like the next Adios Pro. That's the one I'm probably looking forward to the most. I'm interested to see what they're doing. I mean, most of the things that I'm really looking forward to, at this point, because I've already seen, I've seen a lot already, or we've all seen a lot already. I also am very curious to see what they're going to do with that Boston, because it seems like they're like completely reconfiguring it. So that'll be interesting to see as well. I really do want to get my hands on the Magic Speed. And I'm very curious as to whether I'm going to prefer the Metaspeed Edge over the Metaspeed Sky. Right now, I'm thinking I might. I think I might. But what worries me is that it's an even lower stack height, though. I kind of want. I don't know. Maybe it's a security blanket. I like the stack height. I don't know. But those are some of the shoes that I'm really looking forward to. I'm curious. Is the Ultra Escalante 3 is not out but that's coming this year, right? I'm very curious about that. I'm sure there's more. Yeah. You know what I'm not that excited about? And I don't mean to like slight it. But the Hyperion Elite 3. I don't know that that's coming out in 2021. The rumors that I've seen, or like what I've seen on Twitter, is that it's coming out January 1st, 2022. But it doesn't look like it's going to be substantially different. It looks like a very, very mild update. So we'll see. We'll see. The Hyperion Elite 2 is good. It's not great. It's good. So it's just like, it seems like they went very safe with the Hyperion Elite 3. What I was kind of thinking that they were going to do is kind of like fork their two like super shoes and kind of keep the Hyperion Elite 2 the way it is, and maybe just come out with new colors of it. Kind of like, they don't really call it like, I mean, they are calling it like Next Percent 2, but like in between Next Percent 1 and Next Percent 2, there was a whole bunch of different like colors to kind of keep it fresh in people's minds as people kind of kept needing to buy more. So I was thinking that they were going to do that, and then maybe introduce a new model that's maybe more designed for the 5K, 10K runner, something in between the Hyperion Elite 2 and the Hyperion Tempo, especially because it seems like a lot of the pros that Brooks is kind of like putting a lot of their muscle behind are like 800 to like 3,000 meter runners. So, that's kind of where I thought that they were going. I mean, they might still be. I don't know. And those runners may very well be using spikes that I don't pay attention to. So I don't know. But that's one that I'm a little bit surprised that they're going to go with like, we're going to change the upper a little bit and call it a 3. It's like the exact opposite of what Skechers is doing. Brian Paul says, I've been eating these Reese's Easter eggs on my long runs. It works fine. There you go. That's nice. I do miss, since we don't keep a lot of peanut butter things in our house, I do miss Reese's products quite a bit. My way around it was I would get them for the office. So I'd get my fill there. And then I wouldn't have to have it in the house. But now that I don't have an office, I still have the office. I'm still paying for the office, but I don't go there. I'm missing on the Reese's. Yeah. All right. Not Agent says, sorry, I'm really far behind on the chat today. I'm doing a bad job. Says, hey, Co, I'm a runner dealing with IT band syndrome and knee pain, and I feel like my glutes are not activating. I'm working on strengthening my glutes, but I just can't feel them activating on my runs. Yeah. One of the things that I did for it, which I don't do as much anymore because I don't really feel like I need to do it that much, but the way that I felt them activating on my runs, or I felt like I could kind of isolate them a little bit better, was as I'm pushing, is to like push through the heel, like make your heel push off through the heel. Not literally, but that's the mental cue. And so what it does, I felt like it made me like really extend my leg out a little bit more than it normally wanted to. And that seemed to me to kind of like give me that feeling. And I felt it like it kind of like in the hip, like right in the hip socket. And I felt like that's where I started to feel it a little bit. That's one way that I felt like I was activating them. The other thing is like, I still don't like exactly know, like people are like activate glutes or like run with more of your glutes while I'm running, like, or like squeeze your glutes while you run. I'm like, other than like puckering up, I don't really know what that means. But the way that I kind of like think of like the overall like activating the glutes and the sleepy glutes thing, I was listening to the book, The Lost Art of Running. I forget who the author is. But he talks a lot about kind of like elasticity and fascia. And for like most of like, I guess like for a long time, most people, when they were thinking about the way that our bodies and work, you think about the bones, think about the muscles, and you think about the ligaments. And the fascia, in terms of dissection, is just the stuff that you cut through and then get rid of, so then you could take a clean look at the muscles. But the fascia is something that kind of encapsulates everything, but it has an elasticity to it, according to this book, that plays a fairly big role in our running. And so I was trying to think about that, and he's like, the fascia kind of like adapts to your level of activity, where it kind of makes sure that it's optimized for what it needs to be doing. And if you're spending most of your time sitting, your fascia kind of like reconstructs itself to be optimized for sitting. And so that kind of like, struck a chord with me in thinking about like the whole idea of like sleepy glutes, and the idea that like, all right, the sleepy glutes thing is maybe not the right analogy. If you think of it in terms of like, the glutes are not like waiting to be awoken from a deep slumber. It's just like the connective tissue that encapsulates some of those other muscles, which could be much more helpful to you to be used when running, because a person might be spending a lot of time sitting, which was the case for me, even though I do run a lot. The rest of the time I do spend a lot of time sitting. I needed to do different kinds of exercises throughout the day and before my runs to make sure that the body was experiencing like a range of motions, so that way that part of my body could be reminded, hey, don't completely like close that area off. Make sure it stays limber, because we're going to be able to need to access that later. So that's kind of like the other way I think about it too, is like I didn't worry about it so much on my runs, but I tried to do something in the morning and try to do something in the afternoon when I was dealing with my patella or my runner's knee. So that's something else that I would kind of like, don't worry as much about it during the run. I feel like, once everything is kind of like, any imbalances or weaknesses are sorted out, the rest of it will also sort itself out too. And you won't have to really think about it that much during the run. I don't know if that helps. That's kind of like the way I kind of got around to understanding the whole thing. All right. Greg MD28 says, any trail shoes on the horizon you have your eyes on to test out? Yeah, and I'll probably end with this one for today because I got to get going. Oh, wait, before I get to that, I will say, Corey Allen said, which Brooks did Desi wear to break the 50K record? She wore a prototype of the Hyperion Elite 3. I don't know if it's a prototype or if it's in your production version or what, but Chris Chavez reported on it, or at least tweeted about it, saying it was a Hyperion Elite 3, scheduled to release on January 1st, 2022. And Derek Tong says, best budget racing shoe. I can't afford plates. Hyperion, no, not Hyperion. Endorphin Speed. All right. Greg MD's question. Any trail shoes on the horizon you have your eyes on to test out? Yeah, I'm very excited about the Terra Kiger 7. Very excited about the next Ultra Superior. I don't know if they're going to be. Are they going to be an Ultra Superior 5? I like those. So I like trail shoes that are either in the crossover category or in the lightweight racing category. I may pick up the Adidas Terex. I forget what kind of Adidas Terex it is. It looks like a Boston 9, but with a grippy outsole on it. And I feel like that'd be a fun trail shoe for the kind of trails that I like to run. So that's like, those are some that I might be taking a look at. I may, who knows, the year is young, but I don't anticipate myself being in a place where I'm going to need something as like robust as like a Salomon like Speed Cross or anything like that. Is that this right shoe? What was it? I had the Salomon something 3. I thought it was a Speed. I don't know. But I don't think I'm going to need anything quite that robust, or not even as robust as like a Wild Horse. I don't see that happening right now. I think that for most of the stuff that I kind of see myself doing for this year, that it'll stay kind of in that Terra Kiger type of category. So that's kind of what I kind of have my eye on for right now, but we'll see how that might change as the year progresses, because there's still a lot of time left. We're only in April, guys. So lots of exciting things still to happen. All right. I got to go on for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow's video is going to be about the Invincible. I know we talked about it a little bit today, but I'll go about it in a little bit more in depth because we've now hit 100 miles in that shoe. So that'll be tomorrow. And then tomorrow afternoon, we'll do another live stream. Same time as today, 3 p.m. Central. Hopefully I'll see you guys all again. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.